afternoon, Linda. How are you today?
I'm good, Paul. I'm very well, thank you. Yes,
Good.
yes. It's a little bit cooler today, so
It is, isn't it? It is.
it was too much at the weekend. Too
It
much.
was. And Linda, we have met one of the bizarre groups of people that I do meet. It was a long time ago, but we have met. I've been to your
We
offices.
did. You did, yes. You and the guy we were trying to remember.
Mark Rogers.
That's
Mark
right, Mark
Rogers.
Rogers. Yes, you
Yeah, we
came to
come
the
and see him.
office and met us. Yeah, it was a long time ago though.
It
Now I
was.
think.
It was a
Yeah,
long time ago, but
yeah.
still, I can put a little tick in the box to say we have met, and I don't
We have
normally meet
indeed.
my
Yeah.
interviews. And so, whereabouts are you based?
So I live in Northamptonshire, but we now have an office in Newport Pagnell, which, for anyone that doesn't know, is just opposite Milton Keynes, basically, the other side of the motorway. So it's giving us the ability to have get together time in the office. You know, everyone tries to be in a couple of days a week, and then 3 days a week, everyone's tending to work from home. So yeah, we've
Right.
been in this office now for 6 months, I think.
Right. And it's quite central as well. When you think of Milton Keynes, it's quite centrally based, right on
Yeah.
the M1.
Yeah,
So,
good to get north or south,
yeah,
and nowhere near as busy as Milton Keynes if you're trying to get in and out. So it's a good location.
yeah. Not so many roundabouts neither, is there?
Definitely not so. Mind you, we do have some concrete cows here as well. So I think they were
Really?
trying to emulate their
All right.
cousins across the M1.
Excellent. Love it. So for the benefit of the audience today, I've obviously met you. We've been talking recently because we're trying to do some recruitment ideas and initiatives. But for benefit of our audience today, can you give us some background to yourself, how you started, and your origin story?
Okay, so gosh, I've been working in recruitment for more years than I care to remember, and I started off in IT recruitment, and I did a lot of work with contractors back in the day, and then moved more on to recruiting permanent people. And I must admit, out of the two, from a personal point of view, I like doing permanent recruitment. It's more rewarding. You're helping people, you're helping them with their careers and moving them on. So I worked in IT recruitment for many, many years. I met Angela Piat, my old business partner, when she was working at Electricity Direct. We became friends, and then we decided to set up together. So I supplied her with staff, and then we were going to be ladies that lunched really, and we were just kind of do this in our spare time. But then it began to take off, and we realized that actually we were quite good at what we did, and there was definitely a need out there. And it gradually became a much more serious business. I bought Angela out at the end of 2019, just before COVID hit. And we've been through the trauma of COVID like everybody else has. And I think there's about a dozen of us now. Most of my team have been with me quite a long time. People come and they tend to stay, if they're good, of course.
Yeah.
So I've got a very stable team, and that's good from an energy perspective, because the industry, as we all know, is quite complex. So, you know, my team has a fairly good understanding of what roles go where and the kind of skill set that our customers are looking for. I mean, I think Lisa's been with me, I don't know, maybe even 10 years, something like that. Ren's 5-6 years. Jordan's gone and come back again. So, you know, I've got a lot of people that have been with me for quite a long time. So, yeah. And we're still forging ahead doing the stuff that we do.
Brilliant. When we say utility, is it all utilities, gas, electric, and water? Oil? Do you cover how
Well,
how wide is the spectrum of utility, the word utility?
okay, so we started off really supplying in the retail energy space because that was Angela's background.
Yeah.
Um, so our customers would have been retail energy suppliers, brokers, companies that supply software into the energy space, and probably regulators as well. We did quite a bit with regulation companies. But obviously, as the industry has moved on, and there is now more emphasis on net zero, renewables, we do a lot in infrastructure now. So, you know, connecting up the all of those renewable energy supply sources. So yeah, so we've got much more involved in that space as well.
So you cover the whole spectrum really of utilities. Do you do
Yeah,
much
and
in the water sector?
yeah, I mean a bit in water.
Yeah.
I still feel that as far as recruitment's concerned, you know, the water industry's lagging behind energy. So we do bits and pieces. You know, we supply water analysts to brokers, and we do work with a couple of the water suppliers, but it's probably not the biggest part of our business.
And obviously with that business, you've got to have people looking for jobs. You've got to have a database of people that maybe you've already employed or deployed into
Yeah,
positions. You need
yeah.
to have suppliers. So that your database must be quite significant, mustn't it?
It was huge at one point. I think we had something like 40,000
Wow.
candidates on our database. But then when GDPR became a thing, and we also realized that actually having this massive database, which you couldn't find anybody because it was too big.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
of course, data's only as good as it is current, you know, as
Yeah.
good as the last person that's actually updated that piece of data. So we were cutthroat and we absolutely axed it. Because at the end of the day, we've got access to LinkedIn, which is live current data because everyone is updating it themselves. So I think for most recruiters, LinkedIn has become
That's
our
interesting.
main source of candidates. We use all the job, but well, not all the job boards, but we use a couple of job boards at any given time. But the key really is our network. You know, between us, we've got thousands and thousands of connections on LinkedIn. So whenever anyone gets a job, that's where we look. You know, we search on LinkedIn, we go to our network, and that's where we find our people from. So our actual internal CRM, we obviously use for the day-to-day management of the business, but it's not really used to hold candidates anymore.
Yeah. And I know many years ago when I first met yourself and Angela, you actually found me a job. I was looking for a job at one time, and I would have been. I reckon you must have axed me because you was ringing me every 6 months, you guys.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
disappeared. I think I disappeared because I was obviously settled. But I remember
yeah.
you. Sorry, I remember you had contacted me and helped me find a position. And obviously, being
Good,
utility people, it was a very good job, I must admit. And the
good.
whole process, I can talk from experience, was very,
Yeah,
very slick, very
good.
professional.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's the thing we like to do here. We like to make sure we are delivering a service that anyone would want to get.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, we did a webinar last week about values, and we were looking at, you know, examining our own values and then examining those of your employer. And of course, I'm hoping that my values shine through in terms of the business. And
yeah,
I'm a bit old-fashioned in that it's about looking after people and support and teamwork and so on. I think you should always treat people the way you would want to be treated. You know, Amazon, fantastic organization in terms of customer service. Anything goes wrong, they're straight on it and sorting you out. And I would like to think that pretty much we deliver a really
Yeah.
good service to our customers.
Yeah. And then I want to, I'm going to break this question into two actually, because it's going to be
Yeah.
the same question, but I want to talk about the challenges. So your challenges regarding from the delegate side and your challenges from the supplier side. I say supplier,
So
the
client side.
client side.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what are
Are
our
they different?
challenges? Yes. So I suppose the easiest one to talk about is our candidates. Um, we are incredibly busy at the moment. So we had COVID, everything went quiet, but in energy and utilities, there's still a lot of recruitment going on and a massive skill shortage. So some people have left the industry because during COVID they found that, why do I need to do this rushing around all the time?
Yeah.
Going to take early retirement. So, and there's been an exit of skills over the years anyway, hasn't there, with
Yeah, indeed.
older people leaving the industry. So we've now got this skill shortage, and the problem that we have is that for every candidate that gets an offer, he's generally, or she has generally got 3 or 4 other positions, offers on the table. And we're not even talking about the counter offer when they hand their notice in. So this past 9 months, I would say, it's become quite difficult to get that candidate over the line. And it feels as if, sometimes I think Jordan's just placed a candidate in a role, and that's the 4th candidate that was offered and accepted, but didn't start because they got counter offered, or something came in from left field and they took a different offer. So it is really, really tough at the moment. And I think as well, candidates' expectations are so much higher. They want flexibility. They want to look after the dog on a Tuesday and a Wednesday or something. I mean, it's almost gone a bit bonkers, really. Yeah, candidates are looking for work-life balance, flexibility, and they've got loads of choice at the moment. So they are the challenges that we face with candidates. As far as clients go, what are my challenges with clients? I suppose it is about educating them that they need to move quickly, because in this market, if you've got a good candidate, he's not going to hang around for very long.
Yeah.
So they have to move quite quickly. Also, there is the challenge of persuading them that they need to be offering flexible opportunities, because not every client enjoys the working from home bit for their employees.
Yeah.
So we're always trying to educate our clients with, this is what we're finding in the market. If you want to be successful, we would advise these things. And I suppose the other thing, which has been an issue for forever, is that recruitment companies are quite often viewed as, something on the bottom of a shoe, or something that you have to have because you just have to have them. You don't like having them, but you have to have them. So sometimes you don't get the engagement from a client that you would really like, because the best way of having the most efficient and effective recruitment process is to really engage with your recruiter and let them understand what the challenges are and why things, what you're looking for. And get back to us, because quite often you might be waiting weeks on end to get feedback on CVs, or even from an interview or something like that. So it's about trying to get clients to understand that we are delivering a professional service, and the more they can give us and keep us closer, the more effective it will be.
Yeah. And was you alluding that there's more jobs than people, or more people than jobs?
More jobs than people.
Right.
So you know, we do very little cold calling with customers, mainly because we do a lot of marketing. People come to us, we get lots of referrals. People find us using the search engines and so on. So people come to us, we do some marketing out ourselves, targeted marketing. But yeah, we get inquiries every week. Can you help us with these jobs? And the hard thing is finding those candidates. And as I say, even when you've got the good candidates, they disappear off and accept other jobs from other companies. So yeah.
And do you only focus on the UK currently?
Yes, we do, although a couple of members of my team have done European recruitment in the past. So it's something that we could do. I just think that we're kept quite busy as it is, focusing on the UK, and we haven't really had the need to go looking. If an opportunity popped up, we'd probably go and pursue it. But yeah, we just focus on our core stuff at the moment.
Yeah. Presumably, when you're looking at overseas recruitment, it's not as straightforward as what it would be for the UK.
No, my understanding, you know, there will be different tax implications, rules and regulations. Now, you know, we're no longer, you know, with Brexit and so on, we're another arm's length away. I know a number of recruiters that work in Europe, and yeah, it is different. If we were going to do it, I know where I could go to get some help and advice, that's for sure. But yeah, UK only for us at the moment.
So the days of the CV, is that still current with our, you know, us as experts, energy people who within this industry? Is it important that we keep that up to date?
Yes, I think so. And whether that's a CV or whether it's your profile on LinkedIn, people, you know, an employer will still need to look at what you've done and your experience. We are using AI for some things now, and that, you know, that could be for CVs, but in the main, we take the CV that a candidate has sent us, because no one knows their experience better than them. And we will use their CV. Maybe we generally will do a little summary ourselves just to highlight why we think they're good for a job, and then send that over. So yeah, old-fashioned in a way, but it still gets the information across, really.
Yeah. And obviously social media plays a very big part of this, where you can go and do your own research, can't you, on Facebook and Instagram and all those sort of things for the organization's point of view, if they wanted to go and do that. Is that frowned upon, or is that something that is
What you mean, if our
expected?
clients were looking for candidates
Yeah,
themselves?
and they had the candidate come to them, delegate or wherever, and you think, oh, we'll just do a search on Instagram or have a look at their profiles to understand a bit more about them.
Yeah,
Is that frowned upon, or
absolutely.
is that accepted nowadays?
No, absolutely. And I think many of our clients do a mix. So they've all got their websites. And, you know, if you're a fairly well-known company in this space, people will be going on your website and looking at the careers page. So that's a good way of recruiting, obviously. And then there are internal recruiters, talent acquisition people within these organizations, and they tend to do a mix. So maybe for 80% of recruitment, you might use HR or talent acquisition and internal recruiters to try and do a lot of your recruitment yourself. But for that extra 20%, there's still a need for a utility people, because we still have our network. You know, we know that market better than anyone else. And we can save time and effort and energy by adding value. So most companies do a mix. Most companies will do some themselves, some internal recruiters, and then maybe use us as well. And also, you know, we do we have Lisa heading up our executive search team as well. So for those really hard to fill roles, Lisa's there with her very extensive network.
Right. Let's touch on so I'm looking for a role, but I want to work for a company who's got good energy policies, good ESG policies. Are you coming across that where
Yeah.
the candidate wants to work for an organization that's, you know, you mentioned core values just now, and I think that's important, and they're looking for that.
Yeah, definitely. So particularly with the younger end of the market. So they are very keen. They're different to, say, you and me, Paul. So you and I would be looking to get a reasonable salary. We'd want to move up in an organization, and that's what we did as baby boomers and so on. But youngsters of today are more about, do they have they got a good diversity and inclusion policy? Are they looking after the planet? And all of these other things. Is it a fair organization to work for? That has become much more important. And also the work-life balance is really important to youngsters. Gone are the days when, you know, would have worked long into the night getting a report done and things like that. If they finish at 5 o'clock and that's it, they're off. So it is a bit of a different world these days, I think.
It is. Yeah, totally agree. And then what's the process? So I've come to you, I've got no CV, or I've got some experience. Where do you start with that particular person? Is there a starting point that you
Yeah,
can
I mean,
walk them through?
everyone will have a CV, even if it's on a scrappy piece of paper. So, and if someone's CV doesn't look good, we'll tell them, and we'll sort of explain what a good CV might look like, with your qualifications at the top and your key information, maybe a short summary, and then your experience in reverse order. And it should be about 3 pages long. So that's the kind of standard CV. And we would then just pick up the phone, have a conversation with them, or we do lots of Teams meetings now, which I think is always good. You see the whites of someone's eyes. I think you can make a much better connection on a Teams call than on a
Do you think that's the case?
telephone call. Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, Teams instead of telephone.
Oh,
But not
yes.
what about face to face though? Do you
Well,
still try to do that?
very little face to face
Right.
with our candidates. It's simply because of the sheer volume. We couldn't possibly see all
No.
of our candidates face to face. It's just not possible. But if we can do a Teams, we'll try and do a Teams, if not a telephone call. And I think when you've done a Teams, there's just that engagement. I think candidates are less likely to let you down, and you just build a better rapport on a Teams call. So we do a telephone interview. We talk to them about a specific job, because that's how it normally works. We might have found them for a job, or they might have applied for a job. So we talk them through, ask them relevant questions about their experience and does it match the job. But also we're trying to get to who that person is, and are their soft skills going to be a good match for our client. Some companies are more formal, some companies are less formal, and when you're chatting to someone, obviously you're kind of getting to grips with who that person is and where we think they might fit. And so then they're either right for the job or they're not. We might come up with a couple of other options for them. We work as a team here. So when we get a good candidate, we'll generally send it round to everyone in the team. Has anyone got something for this candidate?
Right.
And then we take it from there. We'll always ask them for, there's things like references, although references these days are quite often not really worth very much, because you're not allowed to say very much. right to work in the UK, those types of things from a sort of a compliance perspective. But as a perm recruiter, you don't have to do those things, because it's always the role of the employer to make sure they are taking references and so on. But using our experience, using our network and our knowledge, 99 times out of 100, we're putting forward good candidates that can do the job. Not many slip through the net.
Right. That's good to know. And then, so that's the process from the candidates. What about from the organisations that are looking? What's their process? What do they have to do?
So we would get a job, and some of them use a portal. So
Right.
you might have to log in and submit your CVs through a portal. That tends to work for the larger organisations. It gives them more control. It gives them statistics, data, insight into their recruitment processes. But we will get a job description from the client. We will always try and call the client and have a meeting, a Teams meeting, to talk through the role. 9 times out of 10, the job description doesn't really tell you what they're looking for. So
I thought you was going to say the job description tells them the job's a lot better than what it actually is.
no, but very often it's full of acronyms that no one understands unless you work in the company. It might have been cut and pasted from something else. Might be in language that people can't really understand. So we will try and do that Teams meeting to fully understand what are the key skills that you need and what are the nice to haves. And then from there, we will then do our own adverts. So our adverts all look the same. So anyone that's used to a Utility People website or our adverts, they know where to look, they know how they're set out. So it's then easy for our audience of candidates to sift through our jobs. And we always try and bold and highlight all the key words that are really relevant. So we'll then post that on our website. We'll perhaps do some posting on LinkedIn. We might put it up on our job boards as well. So we're trying to capture candidates from everywhere. And then we'll start the process of searching. And that is looking at our CRM, looking on LinkedIn, all the job boards, talking to other people in the office. I've got this new job in. Has anyone got any candidates they know? So it's always worth asking people. And then when we're going through the process of contacting potential candidates, we'll also quite often say, if you're not right for this, do you know anyone else that could be good for it? So we try and use every single tool available to try and find candidates.
Dare I ask this question? Is there like you mentioned statistics? What's the statistics for interviews and jobs offers?
Yeah, so it's generally sort of 1 in 3, 1 in 4 that we end up placing. And I think that's a fairly standard interview statistic, I think.
Right. And could those 4 people be your 4 people or 4 others?
I mean, we always try and work roles exclusively if we can. It means you've got the time to do a more thorough job. And if you know you're going to get that fee, then you're going to put as much effort into it as you can. If you're one of 3 or more recruiters,
gets a bit messy, doesn't it?
Says you're only, So we will always try and to try and get roles exclusively, or 1 of 2 or 1 of 3. And the longer we work with our customers, the more likely they are just to use us exclusively. And we have some very loyal customers that have been with us for years and years, because we do a good job, and that's what it's about. It's about repeat business and finding the right candidates and keeping them there. You don't want to make a placement and then they leave in 6 months' time. That's not what we're about. It's about finding the right candidate and right for the company, really. So,
And is there like a time process regarding from them engaging with you to actually finding a position?
I
Obviously,
mean,
it's a bit of
yeah,
a hard question to answer, really, but I just wondered whether there was
it
that sort
can
of,
vary. Sometimes you get a job in, you find an amazing candidate, you get them straight out and interviewed and placed, and
yeah,
you could turn something around in under a week.
right,
I would say it's long. Probably standard is 4 weeks.
right,
Um, and when you start with a new client, you very often find that the process takes longer initially
yeah,
because they're getting to know you, you're getting to know them. So this is why I was saying earlier on that the closer the relationship can be between the client and the recruiter, the more effective and efficient the recruitment process will be.
yeah. So, Lynn, it's come to that time now. Just to let you know, the people that listen to this are people in the industry, like myself, energy experts, consultants, people that are leaving universities, um, people that, as we know, leaving the army. There's lots of different types of people. So there are delegates that are listening to this, that are happy now or not happy with what they're doing, and there's also possibly organisations out there. So for the benefit of the audience, is there like a something you can give back to the industry as a takeaway for them to just for today?
I think in the current market, if you are recruiting, so if you are a client, it's about being as flexible as you can with the package and hybrid working, and it's about moving as swiftly as you can, and about building that relationship with us, the recruiter. If those things happen, your experience with us will be excellent. If you're a potential candidate, whether you're looking now or whether you might be in the future, we put lots of information out there. We've got blogs, we've got marketing, we have a weekly hot jobs newsletter that we send out every week. So all our newest jobs go on there. That's something that's worth signing up to. You can sign up to that on our website or just drop me a message or whatever, and we'll get you signed up. That's always useful to look at. And we also do newsletters. So probably every 2 months, we'll send one out to our candidates and we'll send another one out to our clients just to give them information about what's going on, trends, tips, and so on. And yeah, for candidates, I instill into everyone in my team that we must treat people the way we would like to be treated if we were going to go somewhere for a service. So it's so important to me and my business that we look after candidates. So if you're not sure, if you want to chat, if you just want to dip your toe, we're more than happy to have a conversation. Or can reach out to me on LinkedIn or any of my team, and we'll see if we can help you, basically.
That's brilliant. And I know what it's like to be sort of looking for jobs. It isn't easy. And
No,
sometimes it's like looking, the wood, through the trees for the, what's the word?
yeah,
The
can't,
wood for the trees.
yeah, exactly.
It's impossible to get that job, that right
Mm,
job, and
yeah,
people don't really want to do that short-term positions, as we discussed earlier. We're looking when you get to my age, you're looking for long-term sort of positions as such, and more
yeah,
stable positions, not in
yeah.
and out type things. So it isn't that easy.
No, absolutely. And when you're looking at a CV, if someone's moved around a lot, doesn't look great. Yeah, it just
Yeah,
makes it harder and harder
exactly.
to find a stable job. So yeah, it's a really traumatic time in anyone's life, whether they're moving because they want to or whether they're moving because they have to. And I think having a recruiter that's going to hold your hand and look after you is so important. And it's important to us that we do a good job and deliver that service.
Yeah.
And I hope most of the people that come into contact with us would have a really, really good experience. So yeah,
And what I
contact
like
me on
about you guys
LinkedIn.
as well is you do it from both sides. And that's what we've been discussing
Mm,
today, because it isn't from an employer point of view. It's a minefield, isn't it? Looking at finding that right person, but you're going to work with them to find that right person,
yeah,
and you're going to work with the delegate as well. So it all blends together. And I know there's a cost behind that, but
of course
it's
there
a
is. We don't
successful
work for
position to be.
nothing.
No,
We don't work for nothing, but I do believe we are worth our fee.
yeah,
And you were saying there about matching. There's no point in us trying to force a round peg in a square
no,
hole, because then the employee won't be retained by the employer, and that's not us doing
no,
a good
no,
job. So
no.
it is trying to match the soft skills and the hard skills with the right job and the right company, and we really do try and do that.
Brilliant. Well, I'm really excited about what we're trying to do regarding the
Yes.
training we take people
Yeah.
through, and then helping them find their positions, whether they're successful or not. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter, but we've released
these potential energy managers that we're going to be
exactly.
finding to help with our journey on net zero,
Yeah, male and female,
male and female. It'd be
full
lovely to get more
diversity.
ladies in.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm fully behind. And Lee Pickerskill always says to me every time I interview a female interviewee,
Yeah.
he said the amount of passion that comes from the female side is more than the
Yes.
male. So
Yeah.
we can feel it. They
Yeah.
would do better jobs than what we do. That's what we
Well,
expect.
I don't know about that, but I mean, definitely, I think
There's more
that,
passion there.
yeah, I think women are quite passionate
Yeah,
about sustainability and carbon reduction and
exactly.
all of
Exactly.
those good things. And yeah, so give us a chance, basically. Give the ladies a go.
Exactly. Well, Linda, thank you very much for your time. It's been a real privilege and honor to work with you going forward. So I'm really excited
Yes.
about that.
Yeah, I'm excited about it too, Paul. And yes, thank you very much for giving the opportunity to do this today. So
Brilliant.
yeah,
And you and your family stay safe in these times.
thank you. You too.
Brilliant.
Take care.